Welcome to Serendipity Wines Icon Series. We're proud to share interviews of some of the most influential personalities in the wine business. We will showcase the people who have made history or are making historic strides into our future reverence. It's our aim at Serendipity Wines to give you a glimpse behind the scenes. Cheers. Lee Hudson has created one of the greatest vineyards for Chardonnay in the world. But he doesn't just farm Chardonnay. There are many other varieties, including Merlot and Cabernet Franc. I would like to introduce you to Lee Hudson and Skip Carabbian.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Skip is with us as well. Skip works with Hudson in regards to sales and management of communications with people. And so, Skip, chime in if there's anything I miss as I go. So Daniel, as you said, I'm Lee Hudson. I founded Hudson Vineyards in 1981, and since the inception, I've planted 200 acres of grapes and farm a ranch that's 2,000 acres in southern Napa County, on the county line, almost a Sonoman, within 100 feet of the county line. So I appreciate the presentation from my neighbors in Sonoma, and I really appreciate their focus on vineyards, because as they stated so well, it really is made in the vineyard. I consider myself a wine grower rather than a winemaker, though winemaking is my background. A little bit about my background: born and raised in Houston, Texas. Came to University of Arizona, studied horticulture as an undergrad, and then moved on to Burgundy, where I worked in 1975 and 76 for Domaine du Jacques, which really was a transformative and emboldening kind of experience at 22. Came back to Davis, studied viticulture and enology with a great group of people right after Mary Edwards, and I graduated, went to Oregon, kind of tracing the Pinot Noir dream. Was disenchanted with Oregon in the late 70s and returned back to California, bought my ranch in 1981 and started planting. So today there's 200 acres of grapes and 15 different varieties. Hudson produces about 5,000 cases of wine for ourselves. So about 20% of the vineyard is used for us, and the remainder is sold to other winemakers in the North Coast. Really fortunate to work with some really great, to use the word iconic winemakers. John Consgard, who is our consulting winemaker as well. Steve Kistler, today it's Jason Kesner, who used to work for me, and Mark Aubert, who's a great pleasure to work with those three individuals in vineyard designated Chardonnay. Daniel, as you mentioned, clonal material at Hudson has always been a focus. Since the mid 80s, I traveled throughout California, going into historic vineyards that winemakers and other wine growers mentioned made great wine, selected out selections and brought them back to Hudson and planted them into separate vineyards. Today, there's 54 vineyards on the property, and we grow 14 different selections of Chardonnay, all sourced from either European sources or California sources. But as Daniel said, the Hudson Vineyard designated wines are all made from heritage selections, referred to as Winty, though their origins could be Mount Eden, they could be Hanzel, they could be sources from Larry Hyde or the Kistler vineyards, or the vineyards in the Russian River Valley. So it's essential to our winemaking style that we use these selections because they're low yielding, high concentration, and early maturing with very small berries. Chardonnay can be made from a kind of from a bold more oxidative style like our style is, or it can be made very lean. The Shot-Wente selections really lend themselves to robust flavors. They're very mineral driven to start with. Then our wine is it's 14 months and 60% new oak, and it is sorely and stirred during its élevage until the very end, where it's settled and assembled into this wine that we have in front of us. The 2018 Hudson Chardonnay. We make 4 different Chardonnays, 3 vineyard designated Chardonnays from the ranch, and then our estate barrel selection that is what we're tasting today. It's an assemblage of 5 different vineyards on the property, and barrel fermented, and it's stirred throughout its entire élevage. It's rich, bold, but it's also got great musculature, which I think is essential to great Chardonnay of this style. It has great acidity, and it's just rich and well structured. The second wine is the Phoenix, which is named after the fire of 2017, which was so devastating to our ranch. And I thought that it was appropriate that we name a wine from coming from the ashes of a very demanding vintage. The Phoenix is 60% Merlot and 40% Cabernet Franc, from 4 different vineyards on the property. Again, an estate barrel selection. We make 2 other red wines that are vineyard designated reds that are Cabernet Franc driven and Merlot driven, but this is 60% Merlot and 40% Cabernet Franc. So very much like a right bank blend from Saint-Emilion or Pomerol. That's the inspiration of this wine. It is 2 years in barrel, 80% new barrels, and it is blended at the very end to make, we think, a very beautifully structured Bordelais style wine that is more European in style, in our opinion, than bold and kind of more the classic Napa wine that would be jammier. We appreciate wines that have finesse and elegance rather than bold, jammy characters.